Hey, Facebook friends, thanks for joining us today. This is Brad Dombrowski with First National Bank in the Mortgage Division. I'm joined here today with Aimee Stuart, who is a 10-year real estate vet, also does a lot of home staging. So I thought it'd be helpful to share with you some of the important topics that people may not be aware of when it comes to home staging. So we're at a beautiful home, which we'll give a tour of later to show some examples. The first thing I wanted to ask you, Aimee, is obviously where the housing market is right now, inventories are low, houses are moving quite quickly. Mm-hmm. Why is it important to worry about home staging now if you're a seller?
Great question. I think it's even more important right now, and that houses that are staged tend to garnish a higher asking price, so you're going to get a better return on your investment.
Okay.
You're also buyers want to see a house that they can visualize themselves in. So if you have two houses and one is not staged and maybe hasn't been decluttered, depersonalized, and then the other house shows very nicely in the pictures, the buyers are going to gravitate towards a house that they can see themselves in.
That makes sense. So if bottom line is there may not be a lot of competition, but you want yours to look as great as anything.
Right, and I think it's even, when there's less of something out there, you're going to always I think it's even more of the time to stage houses because you want your best foot forward. You want to present in a way that you're going to get more people to the house.
Sure.
So staged houses tend to bring more buyers to look. You're going to spend less days on the market.
Okay.
And if you think about it, if there's fewer houses on the market, so the ones that are not staged are really going to stand out.
This is true. This is true.
It's sort of like, also buyers are more accepting of faults in the way of other things in the house because they're sort of enamored with the beauty of the staging.
Okay.
Because staging really is about highlighting the best features of the house.
I like that.
Yeah, so I think that's now is all the more reason to do it.
Okay,
yeah.
So basically what we're hearing today is inventory or not, you want your house to look as great as possible, put your best foot forward, and that's going to hopefully get you the highest price possible.
Right.
Let's talk about the psychological side of selling.
Right.
People have lived in their home, it's their pride and joy, they love all the personalization they've done. Talk about what are some things that are important to kind of to focus on when you're getting ready to sell.
Great question. So there is a lot of psychology behind staging and why we stage. And I'll look at it from both sides. So on the buy side, if you're a buyer, it's a stressful time.
Sure.
It's stressful on both sides. But if you're looking at multiple houses and you're trying to think, I've already got to pack up my house or wherever I'm living, even if I'm renting, and I need to move into this new place. If you have a staged house, if it's done correctly, you're going to feel like, I have less to do. I don't have to paint. It's move-in ready.
Okay.
And the psychology behind it is that when you feel like the house is move-in ready, you're more apt to feel more comfortable it's not as overwhelming. So you can say, oh my gosh, this has a lot of space because it's been decluttered.
Okay. What about on the seller side? So from a seller, they're going from a homeowner almost to a home seller. Talk me through that.
Yeah, so that's really big. So when you're selling your house, part of the reason that we take you through the act of staging your house and depersonalizing, decluttering, is to remove that it's your home. It's now a commodity.
Okay.
So you go from a homeowner to a home seller.
What do you mean by that? Homeowner to a home seller? What does that mean?
So it's almost like breaking up with your house, really.
Okay.
You need to sort of start putting a little bit of distance between you and the house because you've lived in this house, you have an emotional attachment, but we want to get you ready to go find you a new home.
And someone else to fall in love with your house.
Right.
Okay.
And so when you are, part of the process is the decluttering, depersonalizing, cleaning things out, removing things, and getting them packed up and ready to go to the new place we want you to start going through that process. So it's good, it's going to make your house look better, but it's also going to help you walk through the process of, oh, this is an asset.
Okay.
So how am I going to get the best return on my asset and my investment is by looking at it as a commodity and not as my home that I have all these memories in, that I've lived in forever.
Right.
And now I have to, and you're telling me, oh my gosh, it's not a judgment. It is more of walking through the house and saying, here's what a typical buyer, they need to visualize themselves in the house, not you in the house. So
the more you can disconnect the emotional side to it, It's the commodity. I like
Right.
that. That's good.
It also helps when you're on the buy side. So if you've already distanced yourself and you're viewing this not as your home and more of a house, it allows you to have that emotional freedom to start looking for your home.
Find the next house.
Right, right. So it's just like you're sort of getting rid of the old and getting ready to step into the new.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about declutter, we're probably suggesting don't throw it into your closet or don't throw it in
Right.
the garage because they're going to be looking around your house, whoever might
Yeah,
be looking at
yeah.
it.
So that's a really big thing. So that's one of the common rules in staging is depersonalizing, taking down like family pictures, anything that makes a house look like yours. Anything that, and then decluttering is the biggest thing. So removing things out of drawers, out of closets, out of pantries. People want to know that, especially the master bedroom, they want to know there's ample room in the closet.
Sure.
So how do we make it look like there's more room, even if there's not a huge closet, is we take things out of it.
Okay.
And we have minimal things in the closet, and it should look very clean and not cluttered. So that's a big,
Okay.
yeah.
That makes sense. So basically, for those of you watching this now or in the future and you're getting ready to list your house, it sounds like from Aimee, it's not a bad idea to maybe get a storage unit and declutter and put some of your things maybe at a different location. Shoving that into the back of the closet or maybe in your garage may look good when they're touring the home, but that sounds like they're going to find the stash somewhere and may say, oh, hey, there's a lot of stuff in the house.
Yeah.
So
well, and I think also it's a nice exercise. I always have the theory of touch things once. So you already know you're going to be moving. So let's get it packed and ready
Makes
to
sense.
move. And then these boxes that are packed look far better in a garage, stacked boxes that are already ready for a move than stuff thrown in bags. And then you're already going to have to then go back when we do close on your house and we do find you a new house, you're going to have to go pack anyway.
do it again.
So
exactly.
do it one time. So when we have you take down family pictures and we get things and remove some of the furniture that's big or bulky to kind of open up spaces. Let's just get it ready to.
You're getting rid of it anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's just one less step, and it's one time touching it rather than 6 times.
Makes sense.
Makes it less overwhelming for you.
Less
as
stressful
well.
to deal with
Yeah.
it later.
Yeah.
Tell me about other maybe home staging rules. You mentioned a couple of them, removing the decluttering and putting some personal things. What about colors or,
Yeah.
walk me through some other rules that may be out there.
Okay. The biggest one is, I would say neutralizing. And by neutralizing, I mean not just colors. You want to freshen up the paint on the walls. If you can afford to do professional painting inside and do a fresh coat of neutral paint,
Okay.
that's a great idea.
Neutralizing meaning whites, meaning...
No, and yeah, that's a... Neutral colors like grays, beiges, whites, off-whites.
No pink bedrooms, no blue bedrooms?
Well, really warm colors do work great in bedrooms because you want it to be kind of like an escape. Think like a spa. Think bedrooms should feel very inviting and like, oh, this is a retreat. Bathrooms are great to make like in softer colors that are warm, but again, spa-like, have a little bit more of a luxury feel.
Okay.
So people think, oh my gosh, there's that certain emotional element of, oh, I could see myself here. It's so, it just feels good.
Okay.
Fresh flowers are a great way to bring color into a house. If you start with neutral walls, you can add color in with fresh flowers, candles, throw pillows, things like that, because you want to have some color, some personality. It's going to show better in pictures. It's also going to help people see the house and really feel warm and invited in.
So you mentioned taking personal pictures down, and so a lot of families have, they're proud of their family photos. They're all over the walls.
Yes.
Are you talking take the nails out of the wall, spackle it? Are you saying maybe put other pictures up so you don't have to worry about? I mean, what do you usually recommend?
Really good question. So usually when we start, I will walk through the house with the family, and I will, in a way that is trying not to offend them, because obviously we all love our family pictures, but it's very hard for a buyer to walk in and see your family and then think, well, this is their house, this isn't my house, because I can't envision myself here. I'm thinking of them now here. As great as those pictures may be, and we all have great professional photography or just things we're so proud of, I would recommend taking those down, and I sort of walk around and say, okay, let's take these pictures down. Some pictures are great to leave up, but as much as we can get off the walls, off the ground, to open up walkways, and then spackling and painting. So
Okay.
we want to get all the pictures taken down off the walls that are going to be taken down and fix the walls and paint. So
Okay.
it's got a fresh, just polished feel.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, we're in this home here today, and we're looking around, and it looks almost like this home is staged pretty well. If you wouldn't mind, for the folks that are viewing this, could we do a little tour, and maybe you can
Yeah.
give some pointers of some things
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
why certain setup is the way that it is?
Yeah. This is a great example. This house is not for sale. This is staged to live,
Staged
which
to
is
live.
different from staged to sell.
Okay.
So yeah, we can kind of, this house, we'll walk around, but staged to live is really about what's the most efficient, streamlined way that, and something that brings you joy. So it's the opposite. You want to personalize your house. You
Right.
want to use colors that make you feel good. But you also want to have a house that, if you have kids, that there's a certain flow that feels organized, that feels efficient, that you're not constantly like having to throw things.
Put stuff
that
away all the
everything has
time.
its place. Right. So, you know, you want to be mindful of that as when you're living in the house, but that's very personal, and you can have people come in and help you with that.
Sure.
And organize and stage it to live is more about personal needs. So I always say, how do you live in your house? What is it? What kind of family do you have? Are you more formal? Are you more casual? And then you stage it to live
Makes
in that
sense.
way. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you give us a little tour?
Okay,
We'll
perfect.
We'll show the folks that are watching this with us, and we're gonna see if I can turn this camera around, which, if you're watching this now, it's not letting me change the view. So we're gonna walk around, and Amy's gonna show us some things that we're doing
Okay.
here.
So this house, if I was going to walk through this house with the clients and we were going to put it on the market, there's certain things that I would tell them. So first thing I would tell them is there's a couple, if you can see, there's a couple, I'll kind of walk over there. There's pictures right here of family. So they're great pictures, but I would take those down, patch the walls. I would give a fresh coat of paint to the whole house, just because, you know, there's nicks and scratches and things.
Okay.
The other thing is anything maintenance too. I forgot to mention that earlier. So anything like outside or inside that's a project you may have started, you don't want to leave it in that halfway stage.
Sure,
So
makes
you want to
sense.
finish projects. If you have a bathroom that you've started to finish, or you've started to replace accessories like poles, go ahead and replace
Make sure
them
you
all.
finish it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes
So-
sense.
This house has a pretty good flow. It's pretty open, but we really want to make the room look bigger, so we might remove some of this furniture just to give it a better flow.
Okay.
One thing, we have some candles and fresh flowers. Those are always staples in staging a house, so that would probably stay. There's a bar cart over here. I would probably advise that we get rid of that, just to open up that space.
Open up the space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we might, utilize the bookcase. This is a nice recessed wall, so we really want to highlight any architectural features in the house. So I think this is a great way to showcase that. Even though this is a big piece of furniture, I would keep this here.
Looks good the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and we might, clean it up, make it a little less personalized.
Got it.
This person obviously likes to read.
Sure.
So, but see, you can see, like, just touching up the paint
Sure.
is a great idea always.
Sure.
And so this is very typical. It's just a great room. Looks like the family uses this for kitchen, eating, and then their TV. So I would say this is a very big sectional.
Okay.
So it might be that we would break the sectional down or get rid of it and make this space a little bit more open.
Get a smaller piece of
Yeah.
furniture or something.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes
We would
sense.
take, one of the biggest things in kitchens too is, and this is pretty good, we want to take things off the counter and above. A lot of people
Take
have,
off above.
right, above cabinets, so that it looks open and people can see, oh my gosh, there's a lot of counter space. If there were a lot of things on here, you would be like, oh, this is not a huge kitchen and I can't
Right.
really see myself cooking here. So
Oh, it looks good. That all makes sense. That all makes sense. Well, what we want to make sure we're doing is if anyone out there that is viewing this has any questions, we'll give you a few seconds here to put some comments below. We appreciate everyone that's watching today. Again, we've been talking with Aimee Stuart, an almost 10-year real estate and home staging professional, to talk about some of the reasons that you should home stage your home, either stage to live or stage to sell. It doesn't look like there's any questions. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. If you wouldn't mind joining me next month, The date is to be determined, but we're going to be talking about how to pick a great lender. It doesn't necessarily mean to call Brad, but just how to pick a great lender, some things you should be thinking about. So thank you so much for joining us today. And again, I can be reached at 402-602-5362. If you're looking for some home staging advice, Aimee has been tagged in this video. Please reach out to her as well. Thank you so much. Have a great day.